I want to ask you a question about the 2007 and 2009 period. I'm sure you thought about it a lot. Why do you think you missed it? That there is a euphoria happening and you could get caught on it?
Well, I mean, I think that in that period of 7 to 9, there were a very small number of humans, you could count on probably fingers of one hand, who actually saw the whole bubble. You've seen the movie The Big Short. And, just to give you a side story about the bubble, Michael Burry in The Big Short. So I know that God loves me, and I'll give you some evidence of why God loves me. So in 2008, I'm making a trip to San Jose, California. And Michael Burry's fund, and Michael Burry is based in San Jose, California. And I don't know him, but I know of him. So I contact him and say, hey, Michael, you don't know me, but I'm a fund manager and I'm going to be in San Jose and do you want to grab coffee? He says, yeah, just come by my office. Okay. So this is like, October of 2008. Okay. And I go to Michael Burry's office. And, you've seen the guy playing the drums. So I go to Michael Burry's office and he's got these huge stacks of paper. And he doesn't even, say hello, welcome, or any of that. He launches straight into CDSs. He says, do you know what a credit default swap is? I said, no, I have no idea. And I'm not even looking to know what it is. I'm not really interested. Then he goes into this huge detailed drill down with me on CDSs and CDS squared and, the tranches and how to short it and how real estate's going to blow up and everything's going to blow up and the whole Western world is going to blow up. And this is the way you play it. Okay. So now all God could do is he could take the horse to the water. Okay. He took the horse to the epicenter of the best lake. Okay. The horse was too dumb to drink. Okay. So the horse was taken to the water, but the horse did not drink. Okay. And so I came out of Burry's office saying, okay, that was weird. What the hell? We're going to kind of move on. And of course, then, exactly what he was saying proceeds to happen, And so it was a kind of a very interesting experience. Yeah. So I did not see the downturn being as severe as it ended up being. My way of investing is I really don't spend any time on macro. I'm focused on particular businesses, where those businesses might be going, and that itself is a complicated thing. Figuring out the future of one business is complicated. Figuring out the future of an economy, there's just a few humans that are gifted enough to do that. I'm not one of them. So yeah, I mean, I think I would say that I was able to see the 2000 bubble mainly because I had made some private investments in 98, 99, which were in effect participating in the bubble, and those had already blown up. So by the time the fund started, I had already seen the movie on the private markets. The public markets had not fully woken up to the fact that this whole thing was a pack of cards. So I'm not going to be a guy who's going to be able to see, I would say that even Buffett and Munger say that sometimes things are obvious and you can call it. I mean, I would say, bubble in crypto, we can call it, but you might even say a bubble in snowflake and things like that. You can call some of those. But for the most part, usually you don't get these extremely clear signals when bubbles are underway.
Some of these guys are so smart. Warren Buffett, Munger, you've got to listen to them because when even someone's like questioning the basic understanding, irrationality is the dominant emotion, and that's when you make a move.
And actually, just to continue the story further, so did very well till 2007, and then the financial crisis I did not see coming. So from 2007 to 2009, the funds went down probably around 65, 67%. And the markets went down probably, 37% or so in that period. So we went down a lot more than the markets did. And I remember in like 2008 and 2009, commodities had been crushed, commodity stocks and commodities. And I was selling PE of 3 to buy PE of 2. That's kind of what my trades were. So I remember in 2009, after we bottomed in March 2009, we were up, I think, 140% for the year in 2009. And then gradually that recovery got underway where, we started to get our money back and so on. And one of the things I should have done is probably around 2012 or so, I should have switched back to what I used to do originally, growth investing. So usually the best way to invest is to buy businesses that will, grow over time. That's usually going to be it's just that sometimes you get periods where there's such extreme euphoria where that strategy is not going to work because, you're going to be buying things at 100 times earnings or whatever, and it's just not going to work very well. But what I should have done is, but by that time, so I'd been running this Graham playbook now for 13 years. And the playbook had worked really well. So it was just very comfortable, right? So I just kind of continued. And I did not actually make the switch over to back to the growth stocks, etc., till around 2020. So I basically, I would say I was probably 8 years or so behind